Hmm. Good morning, my friends. How are you? I'm working. There we go. Excellent. Excellent. I think we finally got this figured out. Excellent. I could not be happier right now because finally figured out how to go live on Instagram as well. Now, this was something that was good morning, Johnny. Good morning, John. Let me just jump over to there. Excellent. All right. So, finally able to go live on Instagram as well for my behind the mic segments and my Wednesday night lives. And I'm seeing comments over on Instagram. There is a lag. Somebody please make a comment on Instagram and let me see if it shows up over on my StreamYard platform. Lost Glove, good morning. How are you? Cliff, Mad Jack, Ed. Love to see a comment from. It is official. It took a long, long time to make it happen, and it was not something I was able to do, on my own. Instagram had to play well with StreamYard, which is my streaming platform. Let me jump back over to StreamYard. Okay, so I'm seeing your comments here on Instagram. Excellent, excellent. But here's the comment you want on Instagram. Let me see if it shows up on StreamYard. It does not. Okay. So what I've gotta do is I've gotta bounce back and forth. Brent got his, don't talk to me about big toes. I don't I don't think it says Instagram's a waste of time. Okay, well, it is unless you, need to make a living reaching people, and now I can do that on Instagram as well. Excellent, Chad Stewart. Hey, Chad, how are you? So, this is Behind the Mic. For those of you watching on Instagram who have not seen Behind the Mic before, this is something that I do every week here from the Outdoor Magazine radio studio. And I'm finally able now to connect Instagram. So now I'm live on, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram as well. But unfortunately, the comments that I see from Instagram do not jump over to my StreamYard platform. So who's with us on Instagram this morning? Tim is with us. Nitro Green, Steve Vandermark, Sparty, John Callison, Chad Stewart, Lee, Real Dream Come True. Excellent, excellent. Hello, Art. How are you?
Hello, Mike.
Come on and say hi to the folks if you want, Art. Joining us now, broadcast legend, Art Lewis of WSW.
Hello.
And see what I was able to do finally is add Instagram.
Yeah.
So using StreamYard, go live on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, X, and Instagram at the same time.
You're a
Well, I don't know about that. If I was really good, I could see the comments everywhere. Okay.
yeah.
Hey, Tommy, how are you? I posted, the video of your daughter calling in that turkey. That was pretty cool.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you, my friend. Hello, Chad. Tim Bin says, "Good morning, Art."
Morning.
Brent says, "Good morning, Art." Brent and Tim were with us,
Good morning,
at the
everybody.
Wednesday Night Live at the
Oh,
Lumberjack.
yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
And my, brother-in-law, Johnny, Uncle Johnny, said he had a
Yeah.
nice talk with you too.
Yeah.
So, Mad Jack says he listens to Art Show every day on the radio. Well, that's a good place to be listening, on the
Really
radio.
is. Yeah.
Hey, Dan, good morning. How are things in the U? Eric from Long Line Charters. How you doing, buddy? Oh, yeah, I brought in some. Let me just show the folks, and we'll open these
Yeah.
up. I brought in some, Michigan brand product, so we got a bunch of them over there, so you guys enjoy. Uh, Lost Love says, "Good morning, Art." Shannon says, "Good morning, Art." Uncle Johnny, how you doing, Uncle Johnny? How you doing, buddy? Uncle Johnny, it's been a tough week for you guys, but you have handled it with grace and class. What a wonderful event that. Now here's somebody who's living in the Stone Age. What radio station is Art on? WSGW AM and FM. Steve, good morning, my Trinity brother. Another Trinity brother, Jason. Robert checking in from the Eastern UP. Let me jump over to Instagram. See who's with us there. Tony Sylvie. Oh, come on, Tony. Tony shot a nice big doe 5 minutes ago, waiting to track it. Hope you filled your tag. No, Tony, I haven't. Oh, this is great on Instagram. Scott Sneak is with us. Brian, Ray, love your work. Keep it going. Oh, thank you, Ray. I appreciate that very much. So, what's going on here this morning is something I've been working on for a long, long time. I have a streaming platform called StreamYard that allows me to go live to multiple social media outlets, platforms. And Instagram has not been an option until now. Sir Lancelot, how are you? Craig Plowman, good morning. Lance, you might find this interesting too. I don't know if you use StreamYard or not. StreamYard until now did not play well with Instagram, but they've now added Instagram, so I can go live to Instagram as well. However, Watson boys say Instagram's working just fine. Gus at Sam's, Pizza Sam's in Midland, says he tries to listen to Art daily. You got some fans here, my friend.
Thank you.
Mike Van Wormer, good morning. How are you? Sitting with his son, trying to get him a dough. Too many bucks here so far. Oh, rub it in, Mike. Rub it in. Jason checking in from the Irish, where'd you go, Jason? Irish Township Fire Department. I'm Jim Robleski. How are you? It says we need more radio shows, no internet based. Well, Ed, I got to tell you something, man. You got to crawl up from underneath that rock. And no disrespect, but you tend to be kind of a negative guy. Radio is great. Radio, I don't believe could survive these days without the. So we got to do what we got to do. And all is well in the UP besides the lack of deer and predator issues. The people up here are fed up. Interesting, Dan, that you bring that up. On this week's Outdoor Magazine radio show, my guest in the second hour is Chad Stewart of the DNR talking about the deer season, and I'm going to ask him about predators. Now, I told Chad I was going to ask him this, and he said, "Remember, Mike, I'm not the DNR's wolf expert." I said, "No, Chad, but you are the DNR's deer expert, and you can't talk about deer hunting in the UP these days without talking about wolves." Yeah, Deb, good morning. Corey, how you doing, buddy? Bill says, "How's the deer hunting going?" I don't want to talk about it. Bill Hoffman, the most interesting man in Michigan. The guy who wants more radio also loves your TV show. True, Bill. Good morning and Merry Christmas to you, Jack. Let me jump over to Instagram here. Wendy Cook, Wreck Broadheads is with us. Matt Taggart's with us this morning. I think that's you, isn't it, Matt? With us on Instagram. Wendy, good morning. I saw Archie and Doug this morning. Archie came over and gave me some loving this morning before we got our day going. That was nice. Archie's a dog, by the way. Don't get weirded out here, people. All right, Tony, good luck on tracking that big doe. Matt Taggart, it was nice to have you and your dad with us at our Wednesday Night Live. Jumping back to StreamYard now. Dan says the DNR doesn't have a wolf expert. Gabe, good morning. Do you think part of it is because there's not the hunters up there used to be? Because, but probably, Gabe. But why are there fewer hunters? I think probably there are fewer hunters because there are fewer deer. Johnny says almost the end of December, inch of snow, and again they will say bad winters. Paul, good morning. Elliot, what's your feeling about Michigan going back to a $1 rule? Elliot, I'm all in favor of it. All in favor. Rob Trott, ladies and gentlemen, speaking of legends, I had Art Lewis in here a minute ago. Rob Trott, a name that is so well known and respected in the Michigan outdoors, is with us. Good morning, Rob. How are you? Tony, my skinny water rat brother. How are you, Tony? Tony, they are getting some big fish on Saginaw Bay right now. In fact, my buddy Doug Cook, my neighbor, stopped by this morning. He's got friends who are getting 11-pound fish. That's a little different than what we get out there in the summertime, isn't it? Dan said, if there were deer, people would be here. Ed says, here a lot of coyotes in the morning. John Bergsma, Speaking of open water and the legend, John Bergsma says Saginaw Bay is going to be awesome for open water fishing all winter. Elliot, the UP has a predator issue, habitat issue, and CFL. What's CFL? Help me out, Elliot. CFL. Predator, absolutely. Habitat, absolutely. Bill Hoffman. I love Michigan hunting more than most, have 0% desire ever to hunt the UP. It's a non-factor. Jason, good morning, Jason. How are you? Captain Jason Graham of Sended Charters, working on Linwood Beach Marina. Jason has been out there on Saginaw Bay. He's one of those guys who is into big fish right now. Pastor Joe Llewellyn. Good morning, my friend, and Merry Christmas to you. Johnny Bowler says they could go to a $3. I know a lot of people didn't fill any tags. Commercial forest land. Tim says you need to put the boat back in the water. That ain't gonna happen. Good morning, Jeff. Are you back home? You headed to Florida? Billy Blair, good morning. John Wild, good morning. Let me jump back over to Instagram. Reaper's with us. John HVBER. Watson Boys, thanks for joining us on Instagram. As I say, my behind the mic segments on Instagram are new. I will also go live on Instagram for behind Wednesday Night Live. Jared, good morning. How are you? A couple of things I want to talk about this morning. Um, Tomorrow, first day of winter. It's been an interesting. All right, Johnny, you're not plowing snow this morning, are you? Johnny is the bear whisperer. Good friend of mine up in the Seney area. Johnny, I certainly hope to be bear hunting with you this fall. So tomorrow, official first day of winter. Not leaving. You talk about hunting and deer and lack of deer and predators. My buddy Jeff Hammond, who is retired now, is a hardcore hunter, and now he has time to hunt. I think he's been in the UP for how long? Yeah, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month now, hunting hard, and Jeff is a good hunter. He said he is absolutely fearless. He said he's seen more wolves than he has deer. Did you see Colorado is bringing wolves in, and people are livid about it? Jump back to Instagram. Jesse Sequins, Henry Fellows, Louise Outdoors, Coos Hunt. This is pretty cool. Any advice on buying used airboats? No, Ed, I don't know anything about airboats at all, except that they're obnoxious. They have their place on the ice, but I think they're obnoxious. Wayne, good morning, Mike. I think they should make everyone kill a doe before they can buy a buck tag. The earn a buck concept. That is also an interesting kind of Ron St. Louis, Northern Wilderness Bear Outfitters. Northern Wilderness Bear Outfitters. If you're looking for a bear hunt, my buddy Ron is your guy. White River, Ontario. I'm going back up there next summer, and I absolutely cannot wait. Mike, any thoughts on why Colorado was bringing wolves in? Politicians, people who have no concept of wildlife management, and people who think it's cool to have wolves in the ecosystem. I gotta be honest, I think it's cool to have wolves in the Michigan ecosystem. We've just got too many of them. I mean, I think that's become blatantly obvious. We have too many wolves. And don't blame the DNR because you don't have a wolf hunt. It's not the DNR's fault. It's in the Fed's hands, and the Feds have been bowing down to the anti-hunters now for years. Rocky, I love that name, man. Rocky, good morning. How are you? Jumping back to Instagram. RT Christopher. Good morning. Thanks for joining us on this edition of Behind the Mic. By the way, if you've never seen Behind the Mic, if you don't know who I am, because we got people watching on Instagram now, my name is Mike Avery. I am an outdoor broadcaster, been broadcasting in Michigan. I had a national TV show for a while, for 40 years now. These days, concentrating on radio and social media. This Behind the Mic segment is one of my social media outlets. I'm actually in the Outdoor Magazine radio studio. and I will tell you who's coming up on that show in just a minute. Jeff Hammond says he has been in the UP now for 2 months. He hiked the bush for 4 hours yesterday, found 3 sets of deer tracks. Unreal. Amy, good morning. How are you? Merry Christmas to you, Rocky. Mike, good morning. John, pleasure to have you with us. Jim. All right, let me tell you who's coming up on the Outdoor Magazine radio show. Charlie Wiltsey, a friend of mine. He's also a prime outdoors pro staffer, a Michigan guy. He went to out west somewhere and took a mountain lion with his bow. We're gonna talk to him about that. I mean, a mountain lion hunt is on a bucket list for a lot of people. Deer will be the next protected species in the UP, Tim says. And then Tom Campbell of Woods and Water News wraps up that first hour. The Outdoor Magazine radio show is a 3-hour show. In the second hour, as I said earlier, Chad Stewart of the Michigan DNR will join us and talk about the season so far. I got to talk about wolves, um, and a lot of other stuff. Maybe I'll bring up the $100 buck. Maybe I'll bring up the $1. We'll see where the conversation takes us. Chad, I think Chad's a good guy. I think he's usually very straight with me, and I appreciate that. But he's in a tough spot. You couldn't pay me enough to be the deer specialist for the Michigan DNR or for any state these days, because deer hunting has become so political, and so many people are so passionate about deer hunting. I would not want Chad's job. I think he does a good job with it. Then, not Nick Green. Nick is under the weather. Dustin Tomei of MUCC will join me to talk about what is this? Michigan Deer Hunting Initiative? No, that's not proposed deer management. We'll talk more about that. And and then the Ask Avery segment at the end of hour number 2 deals with what age do you have to have a life jacket on, kids? Bill says Chad's a good guy. He just has to walk the party line. Yeah, I can't disagree with that. Amy headed home to Michigan Friday for Christmas. Can't wait to see the babies. Have fun. And then in our third hour, we're talking fishing with Mark Martin and then wild game chef Dixie Dave Miner. Lost Glove. Will we have safe ice in the lower this season? Michigan's meteorologist Mark Torregrossa from M Live told me about a month ago here on this radio show here in this studio that we will not have much of a winter. He said if we get through November and December, there will not be much of a winter. Well, we've made it through November and December. Let me check over on Instagram right now. Mike, you should do a show on what happens after you get an elk permit. I have 20 points. I'm going to get one soon. I know it. Ryan or Ray, I'm sorry. And Ray, I wish I could bring your content up. I can't bring it up. But Ray says you should go on what happens after you get an elk permit. He has 20 points. I'm going to get one. I know it. Planet Kramer, good morning. Ray, last week on the radio show, I interviewed a guy from the UP who won the Pure Michigan hunt, which got him a full elk tag. Do you know how many applications he put in to win the Pure Michigan hunt? 1. 1. And here I'm putting in bunches. Let me read Michigan reminder on that. Hey, Charlie, things are working now, so I can go live on Instagram as well. I've got everything covered now. Brandon, Lake St. Clair trolling bandits. The mouth of Detroit River, trolling. Excellent. Jeff says, ask him why a person in the UP who may have 10 animals on an entire farm can get a handful of crop damage tags every fall, and we cannot hunt does and there's no deer. They don't even come out and look for damage in years. I just might ask him that, Jeff. Thank you for bringing that up. Good morning, Bernie. How are you? Bernie, speaking of Bernie, I posted something on my Facebook page yesterday. It is the recovery video of the Rampolla buck from 1998. The audio that whoever put that online, the audio over that buck is from my radio conversation with Mitch Rampolla, and it's not Rampala. Mitch Rampolla from my radio conversation in November of 1998. We weren't recording shows back then. I wish I had that audio. I can't find it anywhere, yet I find excerpts from it popping up on the internet. I also find it interesting that all these experts who say Ron Pola is uh, not legit have never met the man. Robert, ask him how they do wolf counts. He's not the wolf guy, and he's gonna say he's not the wolf guy, Robert. He's gonna bow out of that one, and I don't blame him. Bill, greetings from unfrozen Spider Lake. James, good morning. Let me jump back to Instagram. River fishing. How are you this morning? Now, I think the folks watching on Instagram, it looks to me like you can see comments from people who are watching on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. Randy, good morning. I wish we could see your comments. I'm sure that's coming, but for right now, I'm just glad to be able to go live to Instagram. All right. So if you're new to this, let me explain what's going to happen here now. I'm going to switch gears because up until now, we've been dealing with our social media audience using my social media microphone. In about a minute, Charlie Root's going to walk in the studio here, and we are going to. Yeah, Sal, let me get to that in just a minute. We are going to. Good morning, Brady. I'm going to switch over to this microphone, which is my broadcast microphone, and I'm actually going to record the first segment of the radio show. So if you hear me talk about, it's officially winter, it's because the show doesn't air till this weekend. Also, I will not be able to directly answer your questions like I'm doing right now with Sal. Sal says the second hour satellite issue was still in effect on WBCK in Battle Creek over the weekend. BCK is one of the stations that I need to reach out to yet. Westwood One is a company that used to be a player in the satellite distribution business for radio stations. Westwood One, in my humble opinion, is now an absolutely worthless company that lies to their customers, lies to their clients, covers up mistakes they've made, and doesn't admit the mistakes they've made. I got air checks from 2 of my stations last weekend and proved that they were repeating the second hour of the show from 5 or 6 weeks ago. "Oh, no, 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 we didn't do anything, it's not us." That's why my show is being pulled from Westwood One. You don't wanna work with me? I'll find somebody who does. 30 seconds, Charlie? 10 seconds? Paul says your broadcast is awful choppy. It's on your end, Paul. 4, 3, blast off. Yeah, Sal, Westwood One has had some serious, serious problems. That's why we're getting out of them. I'm not sure Westwood One buys stations. Okay, my friends, thanks for joining me on this edition of Behind the Mic, especially my new viewers over on Instagram. This feed will continue now for the next 20 minutes 15 minutes, as I record the first segment of the radio show. I will not be able to directly interact with you. But I will be back tonight at 7:00 for another edition of Wednesday Night Live, where we will give away another Michigan brand ham for the holidays. Have a good day, my friends. Well, thank you, Ken Hunter, and welcome to another edition of the Outdoor Magazine radio show here on the Outdoor Magazine radio network on more than 30 radio stations across the great state of Michigan. Yes, this is a radio show. I hear it all the time. "Hey, I listened to your podcast." Maybe, but if you heard it on your local radio station, you heard the Outdoor Magazine radio show. Again, my name is Mike Avery. So glad to have you along this weekend as we begin our 3-hour adventure into talking about the great outdoors, primarily here in the great state of Michigan, but occasionally beyond. We talk about hunting and fishing and shooting and trapping and wildlife issues and conservation issues and even some wild game cooking, and I'm so glad to have you along with us again. Well, it's wintertime. It's officially wintertime now. But is it really going to be winter? You might remember Michigan's meteorologist Mark Torregrossa was with me here on the radio show about 6 weeks ago. He said at the time, he said, "There is some chance that we're gonna get some bad weather in November and December." He said, "But once we get into January," He said, "You will have made it, and you're not gonna have much of a winter. You're not gonna have a bad winter." It's almost January. Ice fishermen saying, "Man, are we gonna get ice this year in the southern part of the state? I don't know. I wish I had a crystal ball." But it's not looking good, is it? Not looking good at all. I have more tales of woe to talk about on my quest to shoot a big doe here in Michigan. I told you last week I was still trying. I also told you I had a lot of things getting in the way and that I had to remind myself that you can't shoot anything unless you're in the woods. You know what? Since we last talked, I haven't been in the woods. I'm disappointed to say that. But, with Christmas right around the corner, a lot of things coming up, a lot of things have to get done, family obligations, church obligations, some Christmas projects I'm working on. Maybe, maybe by the time you hear this show, I will be able to sneak out one evening. The wind direction, the forecast doesn't look real good for the next couple of days. And then you know how that week between, Christmas and New Year's is, all kinds of things. So I'm running out of time. I think I have reluctantly given up on our lease property. I had high hopes for that property. It is a nice piece of property, it's just, it's a hard piece of property to hunt. So I think I'm going to rely on the generosity of some of my friends who have reached out and said, "Avery, I feel pity on you. You're obviously a very, very bad hunter. You're very obviously not very good at all. Why don't you come to my place and shoot one of my does because I got them running all over the place." Because we're just not seeing them in the daytime at all. They're coming into the food plots every night. And a couple of our neighbors I talked about, same thing. They're talking the same thing. They said, "Deer, but they're smart now." They've been hunting since mid-September, right? If they're gonna survive, they gotta get smart. They gotta move only at night. I know, I know. "Avery, get away from the food plots. Get back into the woods." I get that, but I just haven't been out. I haven't given up. The fat lady didn't sing yet, but I can hear her off in the wings, and she's starting to warm up. Hey, speaking of deer hunting, it's really early for this, but I've had reports of bucks that have shed their antlers already. Antlers, not horns. What's the difference? Cows have horns, sheep have horns. If that bone that grows out of the top of their head doesn't drop every year, if it stays there, it's a horn. If it drops, if it sheds and regrows every year, it's an antler. Deer, whitetail, muleys, elk, moose, those are all antlers. And usually, anywhere from the end of January into March, late February, they will shed those antlers. My son James actually told me about 2 different bucks he has seen already that have dropped their racks, shed their antlers. Seems early. It does seem early, but that opens up a whole 'nother season too, right? I mean, if you didn't get your buck and you wanna stay out there and keep track of your whitetail herd, searching for shed antlers is a fun way to do that. I think I think we have pretty much solved the problem of Westwood One repeating the 2nd hour of the show. And you know how we solved it? Went around it. If Westwood One doesn't want to admit they have a problem, if they doesn't want don't want that the problem is on their end, if they wanna say it's something that we're doing because we're not, we're just gonna go around them. So I am cautiously optimistic that this weekend, as you hear the show, at least on most of my affiliates, you will hear all 3 hours of the show. And just a reminder, I do a new show every week. I do 3 new hours every week. I would not repeat a show. I would not repeat an hour. I take this too seriously. I take your time too seriously. I would not waste your time. But that's the joy, right? That's the fun of working in a of being at the mercy of other people sometimes. Pure Michigan hunt. Time is running out. You still got time. The Pure Michigan hunt, I think, is a very cool thing that I don't know if it was the DNR that came up with this or the legislature or who it was that pushed it, but kudos to whoever came up with the concept and decided to make this a thing. What it is every year they draw 3 winners from the people who apply for the Pure Michigan Hunt. It costs you $5 to apply. You can apply multiple times. You can apply as many times as you want for $5. The Pure Michigan Hunt winners get a bunch of gear and equipment from, I think, all Michigan-based companies. You get a managed, first choice at a managed waterfowl hunt, which I would give away to one of my waterfowl hunting buddies. I'm too interested in that. That's waterfowl hunting is a whole 'nother thing. That's a whole different area that's, gonna be hardcore to do that, and I guess I'm not that hardcore. You win, um, a turkey hunt, which I would give to one of my buddies because I think I'm pretty well set on turkey hunting. A bear tag, first season any unit, which you bet I would keep, and then you get that coveted bull elk tag for either the September season or the December season or both, and it's a bull tag. $5 you can apply. I had a guy at the show last week from the UP, Bob Boudry, who won the Pure Michigan Hunt. He was the first Youper ever to win it. Do you know how many times he applied for the Pure Michigan Hunt? You guessed it, 1 time. And I have since seen a picture of a big bull that he shot, a big bull elk. Congrats. Really very nice. You can apply online, you can apply through the app, you can apply at any license agent. I'll be honest with you, I haven't gone to a store to get a hunting license or a fishing license in a long time now. I just go online and do it. It's so much easier. Michigan.gov/DNR or use the app. I like that app. If I ever shoot my doe, I will use the app to report the harvest so I can go get that meat processed, and then I'll take it over to Michigan Brand and have the rest of it done. Pure Michigan. Oh, and, even though I talk a lot about hunting right now, man, some of my buddies who are out on the water right now are getting big, big walleye. Saginaw Bay, Lake Erie, Lake St. Clair, Detroit River. I'm talking, 11-pound fish out of Saginaw Bay. All summer long, we're out there chasing fish that are 13 inches, 15 inches. I mean, you get a 20-inch fish, that's a good solid fish. You get a 27-inch fish, that's a nice time summertime fish. So they're out there. What else? My website, MikeAveryOutdoors.com, MikeAveryOutdoors.com. My email address is Mike@MikeAveryOutdoors.com. Don't forget to check out my live feeds, my live streams every Wednesday morning at, 8:45 for the radio studio. I do a behind the mic segment, and then every Wednesday night at 7 o'clock, I do a Wednesday night live, Wednesday night. And let me say one more thing before we take a break. Merry Christmas to you. Merry Christmas to you. Merry Christmas to your family. Notice I didn't say happy holidays. I didn't say season greeting. I said Merry Christmas. I realize that this Christmas season, we have to, for the kids, there's Santa Claus and there's Christmas trees and there's presents and there's, decorations and there's lights and everything else. And that's fine. That's good. I get it. Santa Claus, I get it. The real reason for Christmas is not so Santa Claus can come down your chimney and eat cookies. The real reason for Christmas is to celebrate the birth of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. If you are a person of faith, this is a very, very important and significant celebration. So, Merry Christmas to you and your family. May God bless you this Christmas season. I hope you get a chance to enjoy friends and family. And please remember, Christmas is a celebration of the birth of Jesus. Okay, so what I've gotta do here now, Anyway, my friends, thanks for joining me. I'll see you tonight at 7 o'clock for another edition of Wednesday Night Live. So I'm going to shut this down, then go over to Instagram and shut it down. And thank you, my friends who are watching on Instagram this morning. I appreciate it. Hope to see you again.